Yay! We are ready to do this! Hello, everybody! We are doing Ask Me Anything tonight. I have no topic on the table aside from the questions you bring. Tanya, you are the first girl in the house. For those of you who don't know my girl Tanya, she literally sets an alarm on her phone to make sure she's here on time, and she's the first one in the room. We got a bunch of the people popping in. It looks like I got James in here from Singapore. We got AJ, Because I Can, Crafts by Danny, my girl's in the house. Sonia's in the house. A couple other people who I don't recognize the usernames, but thank you for being here. Okay, so for those of you who are catching this on the replay, go ahead and hit the double tap, or not double tap, but tap to move ahead. We'll be kind of doing some randomness, some greetings, all that kind of stuff for the next couple minutes. So if you don't want to listen to all this rambling, feel free to jump ahead. If you want to join in all the ramblings and greetings and all the fun stuff, please watch that part of it too. And likewise, if I'm able to save this, because I wasn't able to save the last one, if I'm able to save this one and get it up on YouTube after the fact, same thing, you might want to jump ahead a couple minutes into the video. So we've got James is saying hi from Singapore. It's Thursday morning. It's in the future. Danny is saying she's here, bit of bad reception. My girl Danny is always in the car, but she shows up and she watches, and it's always awesome. So I thank you for being here, Danny, as well. Sonia is saying hi. So good to see you. Glad that all of you are tuning in live. I'm going to take a split second to type in that we're doing an Ask Me Anything, because you guys that come in here know that I'm horrible at talking and typing at the same time. So we are doing, and Luke is here from Australia. Awesome. Luke, I actually got your questions, so hopefully you can stay on. If not, make sure that you come back and watch the replay. And that goes for everybody as well. If you cannot stay through this whole video, you will want to come back and watch the replay. We're going to cover a random array of topics, but all of it's going to be questions from you guys. So these are the questions you want answered. We've got... I'm assuming Peja or Peja from Thailand. Good to see you. Chi-Town Mags is in the house. Bruno is up in the house. Good to see you. I know I haven't seen you in a while. Awesome to see you as well. Okay, Ken showed up. Ken, how are you even here? Your Instagram doesn't work. How are you even here? See? People are messing with me. Like, I love that you guys are all here. This is awesome. Michelle's in the house. Jen is in the house. Jen was just chatting with me over on direct message. Hey girl, so good to see you. Chi-Town Mags. I love it. I love all you guys. I love all the activity already. We haven't even started yet. Okay, I do have to type in though. So ask me anything. Okay, and we're gonna post that. And we're gonna pin that. There we go. Okay. I know Tanya's saying, don't forget to type in today's caption. I get distracted because all of you guys are in here. I gotta type and think and do everything all at the same time. It's too distracting. There's too much going on. Ken's doing, he's able to watch, he's using the Windows app on his Surface. So, poor Ken, who is another big Instagrammer, and he actually runs, the Chatgram, hashtag Chatgram over on Twitter, which is the only, Twitter chat devoted to Instagram. So he's big on Instagram as well, and he updated his Instagram app, I think it was yesterday, and now he can't use Instagram. Like, it's comical, but it's not comical. Like, I would die. Can you imagine if I didn't have Instagram right now? I would die. Like, how am I gonna do this video? Like, I would be in absolute pandemonium. So I'm not meaning to laugh in, like, a funny haha way, but it's just like, of all people for it to happen to, it had to happen to Ken. So I feel bad, but at least he was able to work it out, and he's using his Windows app so he can tune in as well. Michelle's saying, hey, good to see you. We got a few other Man Cave Chronicles podcast just tuned in. Said, give my podcast a shout out. You follow me on Instagram. So just gave you a shout out. Ken, Watson KS is saying Dark Ages girl. And Tanya, the real TPS fit, is saying no way. Yeah, like crazy. I'm like, the poor guy. We've been kind of joking back and forth about, as you guys all know, Instagram support is not the most, quick response, in terms of technical support. And so we were joking about how he should submit a help ticket to Instagram, and that he will hear from them in 256 years. So poor Ken, hopefully his app will come back soon. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do, you guys. I have questions that people submitted off this video. People that either emailed me questions, messaged me questions, direct messaged me questions, left comments on posts. So I do want to make sure we get to as many things as possible in the next hour. It's going to be an hour. I'm pretty sure you guys are amazing and you always show up and bring all the energy. And we all know I can talk forever. So I'm pretty sure we're going to fill the hour. That being said, I do want to make sure we get to as many questions as possible. So I'm going to try to keep my answers short. I'm going to try to get through as much as I possibly can. And so I have a couple things I want to go through, questions I want to answer. Jen already dumped a question in here. So as I'm going through, feel free to dump questions in the comments. In order to try to monitor this and keep things running smoothly, it's going to be a little complicated. So I will take a question and I'm going to answer that question. I'm going to ramble, do my whole thing, answer that question. If comments are coming in related to that, I will try to address those as they are coming in. Any additional, no, Jen, don't apologize. Are you kidding me? This is the whole point. Ask me anything. Put the questions in there, you guys. Put them in there. But if questions are coming in and they're kind of like out of sequence, I will go back up into the comments and try to get to all of those questions. So I'm going to try to answer them as much as possible chronologically so that people who put their questions in first will get their questions answered first. That's how I'm going to try to roll through this. If we run out of time, we will schedule another Ask Me Anything, or I will use some of these as blog post motivation so I can give more detailed responses to some of these questions as blog posts if that's needed. So we will figure it out as we go. This is my first time doing Ask Me Anything in this format on Instagram, so we're going to hold, cross our fingers and hope for the best that this all works out with all the everything that's coming in. So that being said, before we talk about the Ask Me Anything, I need to take a hot minute and talk about what happened on Instagram today. Anybody know what I'm talking about? My Jen's friends know what I'm talking about? Nested comment responses! I am losing my mind. Like, we have been waiting for this forever. Like, seriously, forever. Facebook has been doing this forever. Like, where you hit reply and then the reply actually falls in right nested underneath their original comment? Yeah, it came to Instagram today. I was losing my mind this morning. I did not have it on Jen's Trends. I had it on another account that I manage. And I went in and I just hit reply like I normally do, and it started saying, like, you're replying to this. And I was like, wait, this is different. Why is this doing this? I started screenshotting. And it's a nested response. So now, when I'm hitting that reply button, my response is nested underneath. I was so excited. And the hearts are like blowing up. Like, you guys are like so excited about this too. I'm getting all the I love them. Chi-Town Megs, yes, to replies. When you reply to somebody directly, it just like, it nests it right underneath. Everyone's so excited, finally. Tanya's saying she got the nested comments an hour ago. Danny saw them. Ken saying he'll take my word on it. As I mentioned, Ken doesn't have his Instagram working. And I'm assuming, Volcano, Mercilic, I don't know what language you're trying to type in. So unfortunately, I cannot answer whatever it is you're commenting about. Okay, so here's the thing, you guys. It's coming now. So I only had it on one of my 3 accounts this morning. As of this afternoon, I have it on Jen's Trends as well. So I do have it now on my dominant platform, which is amazing. And it's retroactive, meaning posts that I actually shared like previously and replies, Vulcan, my bad. I'm sorry. It's hard when it's all one long username. When you have a reply to like a comment that like was from last like night or last week, yeah, it's going retroactive. So even those responses are moving up and being nested. So if you'd hit reply on that specific comment, your response is now being nested under there, not just going today forward, but it's actually going retro backwards. So super awesome. Real TPS Fit, Tanya's asking if it's only for business accounts. No. And I know that because the first account I got it on is not a business account. It's a personal account. I don't have that one managed as a business page, and that one was the first one to get it. So it is not just for business pages. It's going across the board for all Instagram users. They told us last month this was rolling out. We've been seeing some like weird quirky things happening, knowing this was coming, but we didn't know for sure, and it just they blew it out today. Like, nobody talked about it, nobody knew it. It just, like, it was gonna happen, and it happened, and I'm so flipping excited. Okay, so now that I've talked about that and gotten you guys all excited about it, here, okay, so I'm gonna answer the first question, because this was the first question that came in, and I'm seeing comments, so I am gonna go back, and like I said, we'll try to do this chronologically as much as possible. And I love that you guys are talking amongst yourselves. You guys are the best. Like, seriously, the comments, you guys are going back and forth in the comments on here. You guys are awesome. Legacy Wood Designs just joined in. Cam Summerlin just came in. Okay, so the first question that I have that I want to talk about, and this is, so I reminded you guys, ask me anything. It's not just Instagram specific. We're talking Instagram, social media. If you want to ask me about being a mompreneur and how I do it, you can ask me that too. We've talked about it before, but I can talk about it today. So it's not just Instagram topics. Let's keep that real. Okay, so the first question I want to address came in from Luke, and he asked about measuring ad effectiveness on Facebook. And kind of short and sweet, if you have two products and you're running ads, that he asked, is it better to do 5 times on each to different audiences, or is it better to do them 5 times each to the same audiences, essentially running them at the same time? So my answer to this is kind of both. But if I had to choose specifically in response to the question, I would say you are better off running them simultaneously. And the reason why, from a scientific background, you always want to test things in the same environment. And if you're running your ads separately, if you're running test group essentially A, and you're running that this week, and then you're running test group B next week, then they're in different spaces. You may technically target the same people, but it's at different times. They have different things going on. There's different capacities. There's different influences. There's obviously, like in the US right now, and actually, I mean, even in other countries, it's global chaos. I mean, Mother Nature is just whooping us this week. So last week was Harvey. This week is kind of not so much. And now next week is going to be Irma. So if you're running ads, you know, this week may have been a good week to run an ad because people are actually using Facebook in that capacity, whereas next week people are dealing with all the catastrophe. They're not going to be using Facebook. So you can't run an accurate analysis of the two comparisons if they're not run at the same time. So to answer your question specifically, I would say run them simultaneously. Ken Watson Case is saying Mother Nature's angry. She is pissed. She is like, she's going to come down with an ass whooping, you guys. I can't even imagine. Like, I'm kind of making light of it, but I'm really not. Like, and Ken of all people knows. And I've chatted with Ken. I know people in Texas. I know people in Florida. I have family in Florida. Ken is in Houston. So trust me, we're not taking light to any of this. It is obviously a very serious catastrophe. There are wildfires up and down the West Coast. I have friends and family in British Columbia, you know, Pacific Northwest area, and they are under a ton of smoke. I live in California. Trust me, I understand wildfires. I've been through evacuations and those sorts of things. I completely understand. So we're not trying to make light, but yes, Mother Nature is peed off at us right now. It is not going well. So, so quickly back to the question, you know, like, and Luke's saying thank you, so I'm glad I hope that answered that question for you. But in the same turn, I would not run an ad once and call it a definitive decision. I would say you want to run it in multiple stages as well. So if you run it this week and you run both and they're parallel and you get that comparison, great. But in 2 weeks or a month, you want to do it again. Because during summer, you're going to have different interactions than you're going to have during when people are back to school and back to work. And just so you guys know, my air conditioning kicked on because it is freaking hot. I have my air conditioning set at 82. Like, it's hot. Like, I was hoping it wouldn't come on, but I was getting hot, so I was kind of glad it came on. If it gets weird or noisy or backgroundy, it's because the air conditioning's on, and hopefully it won't stay on too long. But so I would always recommend that you run multiple tests of any ad you're doing, or run them at different time frames, and expand your audiences and things like that. You always want to be testing. You never want to assume that an ad is done and complete and that is your definitive answer, because like we just kind of said, there's so many things going on. There's so many different capacities that you can't make that that easy assumption that any one ad is ever going to be the final decision. You want to have multiple tests. Again, that's my scientific background coming in. So that's kind of why I said you kind of want to do both. But for a direct comparison, you always want to run them simultaneously. Okay, so that answered that question. I've got Tanya saying she's sitting there in her socks in a warm sweater. Danny's telling me she has the heat on. Yeah, we had a long winter. It wasn't a cold winter, but we had a long winter. We didn't get summer until like July. And it's September, and it's triple digits like every day. It is crazy hot. I love the heat. I really don't mind it. So I'm happy with the weather. I would much rather have summer every day than winter, for dang sure. But it is hard to go on camera when like you feel like you're just gonna melt. So I literally have my air conditioning at 82. Okay. So we are gonna jump back. I gotta go all the way back, you guys. Dang, look at this. Like, look at all these comments. Oh my goodness, you guys. So much to go through. Okay. Okay, so Jen Shar Smith, we were chatting before, she said her photos aren't showing up under hashtags, so how do you navigate that? This is shadow banning and the assumption and theory and everything that goes into shadow banning. Jen has read my blog post on this. This is something I have talked extensively about. I did an entire live video for an hour just on the topic of shadow banning. So I'm not going to dive into this too much tonight because we could spend hours talking about this because it's such a hot topic. But in terms of navigating it, here's my best recommendations. Don't use super popular hashtags. So those ones like hashtag love, hashtag social media, hashtag, happy birthday, like anything that's super popular. Anything with millions of posts, I've stopped using them altogether. Now, is this a perfect solution? No, absolutely not. You still want to use hashtags. You want to use as many niche-specific or industry-specific hashtags as possible. You're more likely to show up in those ones because it's related to your content. The other issue, and this is something that is still under testing, I have not proven it, is that it has to do with an AI, artificial intelligence, sort of metadata analysis of your image. So for example, if I took a snapshot of this photo as I am on the screen, you see a human being, you see a plant in the background, you see a logo in the background, the color blue, and a whole bunch of white space, and you see, kind of my shirt, that sort of thing. So the metadata is going to put female, girl, woman, plant, maybe an office, like maybe it's smart enough to figure that out. So if I start using hashtags like, family fun day, or hashtag mompreneur, or, hashtag love, all these things, nothing in the metadata about this image is substantiated in those hashtags. Now, how true and how accurate this testing is, I don't know. I don't have my secret bat phone. I keep joking I wish I did, and I really do wish I had a secret bat phone to Instagram. I don't. So the more your content relates to your hashtags, the better it typically performs. It's also really important that your content is interactive and engaging for your direct audience. Meaning, if your audience is not liking your content, an algorithmic sorting in the hashtag galleries is not going to show your content. Meaning, if I have 1,000 followers and when I post something, if 100 people like it right away, that's a good performing post. It's going to show up in hashtag searches. If I have 1,000 followers and only 5 people like that photo, it may not show up in hashtag searches because Instagram's going, no one really likes it. Why would we show it to a bunch of strangers? If your own audience doesn't want to see it, why would a stranger want to see it? So you want to be making the best content. You want content that reacts and interacts and engages your audience. If it's not performing with your audience, it will not perform in hashtag searches. So that was a really short, super condensed, super quick answer to all the kind of hashtag approaches I want you guys to think about. Take all of that with you and think about that. Okay, so I think that was... okay, so all these comments were we already talked about. So many comments, you guys. You guys are amazeballs, seriously. Okay, so Jen just said, I just started my e-commerce business. I'm a stay-at-home mom and just started Shop Cute Heart. So everybody go check out at Shop Cute Heart. And even at Jen Shar Smith, you guys can see her username in here. She's Jen with one N. I'm Jen with two N's. Just saying, keep it straight, people. Jen Shar Smith, her account is beautiful. She's got a beautiful, adorable little babies, and beautiful feet. She's doing great work, you guys. So definitely go check out that Shop Cute Heart. Danny said, okay, coming soon, Head in the Clouds Boutique. All my products on one page. Now what? Okay. Head in the Clouds Boutique, all my products on one page. Now what? So Danny, I need a little more. Are you talking all your products on one Instagram? That kind of thing. Give me some clarification on that and we'll come back to that one. And so yeah, Danny, I saw your question about, so clarify if you're talking about having all your products on one Instagram account. I'm assuming that's what you mean, but I don't want to answer the wrong question. So if you can clarify that. And Jen saying, okay, so more than 1 million. Yes, anything over like in the millions of things on that hashtag, it's too populated. You're not going to get any traction on it. You're in the mommy niche. I get it. But that doesn't mean that you're necessarily in the mommy niche. You are, but you're not just going after mommies in general. You can get way more targeted. You can go, you're looking for things specifically for toddlers or specifically for newborns, or are you looking specifically for girls or boys products, things. Get really specific. Get as specific as you can that gets away from the whole hashtag mommy life and hashtag mompreneur and like all those like maybe the bigger popular ones that everyone's kind of hijacking. Get something that's a little bit more targeted. And just so you guys know, if you're not familiar with doing Instagram hashtag searches, type in a hashtag. When you go to the search, you will see other related hashtags. You can start clicking through and you can find other ones that way that are relatable. And you can see how many posts are associated with each of those as well. So you can go, that one only has like 80,000 posts. That's good. And maybe has 150,000 posts. That's a good popular one. When we start getting into the millions, it's just too much. Okay, so Tanya was saying fascinating about the metadata. Danny's got to go. She'll catch me on the replay. Danny, because I can't answer your question, because if you can't catch this, email me, girl. I got you. We'll hook it up. Jen saying, I'm trying and nothing seems to work, but thank you. Mike, Mike's in the house. Hey, didn't even see you sneak in. Mike Alton is in the house and said, have you tested the hashtag finder on Tailwind? Great contribution. Tailwind is iOS only right now, so if you're an Android user, it makes it kind of hard to do the full application of the Tailwind app. I know, trust me, we're working on it. I'm in direct contact with Tailwind because we're trying to make this happen. So right now it's only an iOS application. They have a desktop version, but Tailwind does have a hashtag finder, and it's a really cool, fun tool that actually helps you find the right hashtags for your specific audience. You can put in your keywords, do all these sorts of things. So absolutely, if you have the ability, go check out Tailwind and look at their hashtag finder. And Jen Char's message just went. Okay, and when I looked at your account, I was like, I just glanced at it before we went on. I was like, I thought it was only one, and then I was like, oh, I don't want to see you only have one, and then you had like two or something. So, okay, and Danny said, yes, it's only one account. Okay, so I'm going to come back and I'm going to answer Danny's question. How do you feel about hashtag generators? I try to filter out the super popular ones. Chi-Town Meg said, speaking of hashtags, how do you feel about hashtag generators? I try to filter out the super popular ones, but overall. I really don't use any of the hashtag generators. I mean, you can kind of come up with anything you want. I just look in, like, the Tailwind hashtag finder is great because you can go in there and find what you want, that's related. I just go in, I'm old school. I just go in organically. Just go and see what other people are using. Go and see, what is creative, what's relevant to your audience, all that kind of stuff. I'm just kind of old school, I guess, if you can call that old school. Real TPS Fit, Danny is saying, I'm using Tailwind, and so far the suggestions do work for me. Engagement is slowly growing. Boom! Couple shout outs. Seeking Surnames just walked into the room. SV Holmes, hey sweetie, good to see you. So glad you're here too. Jen Janelle just joined. Jay Wheel just joined. So we've got more people coming in. For those of you who are coming in, we are doing an Ask Me Anything. If you have questions, put them in here. I do have a list that I have to get through, as well as people that submitted things. So we're trying to get through all the questions we possibly can. We just talked about shadow banning and kind of how to target that. There's lots more resources out there that I've covered in terms of another video on YouTube and blog posts. So that's all we're going to say about shadow banning. If you do have more hashtag questions, feel free to bring them though. We can definitely do that. So, okay, so Danny had asked, she has a new account coming with all of her products on one page. So, and Danny is a crafter, so she's got tons of like different products and everything. So you want to have a great bio that explains that you do multiple things. Your bio has to say, use bullet point format, that you do this craft, this craft, this craft, this source, that sort of like talk about what you do. So when someone looks at your bio, they know you cover these multiple things. I love using a strategy in terms of a content planning calendar where, let's say you have 6 is easy because 6 works perfectly in the Instagram grid. So if you have 6 topics or 6 kind of niches or that sort of thing. So every Monday you do the same. So Monday it's your paper crafts, and every Tuesday it's your cards and stationery. And this is assuming you post it every day. You only be posting twice a week. That's fine too. But your first post would be, the papers, and then the second one would be, your stationery, and the third one could be any of the more tactile things you do or whatever. So every first post of 6 is the same content. Every second is the same. Every third is the same. So after you get through 6, you start the rotation over again. This creates consistency, it creates expectation, it creates a cohesive gallery that starts to show a repetitive pattern that doesn't look like, oh, here's 8 posts in this topic, and then there's 3 posts in this topic, and then there's some more over here, and it looks all disjointed. The more you can create consistency really allows you to take where you have multiple content and put it all in one. This is great for photographers as well. If you're a photographer that you want to have everything on one Instagram account, but you do, portrait photography and you do landscapes, do 3 portraits, then 3 landscapes, 3 portraits, 3 landscapes. If you mix that up and you keep that kind of consistency in terms of your posting, it makes it much more, people start to recognize, oh, look, all that row is photos of people, all that row is photos of landscapes. Or you could even go in and create like a color theme. So you do 3 posts that are all red color, and then the next 3 are all blue color, and then the next 3 are all green. So try and pick themes that allow you to be consistent even though you're showing all this different type of content. I hope that helps. I don't even know if Danny's still on it because I know she's got the kids and she's out there in her car doing all her things. So hopefully that answers the question. But Danny, seriously, hit me up. We'll talk more. Watson K is saying, I say from the hashtag generator apps, they want a lot of access to parts of the phone. Great point. She's going to check out Tailwind. TPS Fit said, I read that you should delete a post from your Facebook page if it doesn't engage. Good question. Don't let me forget it. I got to go jump over to my list because I want to make sure we get through everyone's questions. So another question that came in offline was from Judith, and she said, do you have a strategy to best engage with followers? She comments a lot on others' posts, and she's also responding to comments on her own posts. So lots of comments, a lot of interaction, a lot of engagement, their responses, conversations going back and forth. Is there a good way to manage this efficiently? Well, since we just talked about the nested comments, just saying, that obviously will help. Having those nested responses is going to be super helpful because you can actually keep track of the conversation. You're not going to have like just 20 random comments and not know who you're responding to, and people who are looking at it can follow the train of thought. It's going to be much easier to follow that. So I think that will be really helpful. But I think Judith wants more than that. She's looking for something that's a better management tool. So absolutely those dashboard tools. We already talked about Tailwind. That's a great one. Agorapulse is another one I love, and Hootsuite. Those are kind of my 3 favorites. And they really do allow you to better manage your engagement. You can create streams and feeds and content organization where you can, follow things on a hashtag. You can follow certain people. You can follow your own content. You can separate things into all these different organizational categories that allow you to actually keep track of things. And most of those apps actually keep more notifications than what you get on Instagram. Instagram used to be 75. I think it might be 100 now, where when you're scrolling through your notifications, like they just stop, like they're just done. So if you're a really busy account or if you have a lot of engagement going on, you lose old interactions. So it makes it hard you may miss something, you don't know if it's there. And those dashboards do help with a little bit more extended information in terms of your notifications. So that helps manage it as well. And it keeps it in a more aligned place so you can go through and do that. So I would definitely recommend looking at those 3 tools. Hootsuite is free up to 3 platforms or 3 social media accounts. Agorapulse has a free trial, but it's a paid platform. And Tailwind is paid, but they're all in different price ranges. So definitely look into that. Watson KS, Ken is chiming in and saying schedule commenting time. And that's a great example too of giving yourself time, whether it's an hour a day, half hour a day, 2 hours a day, whatever that time is you need, and say every morning at 9 a.m. I'm going to sit down and review comments. And then every afternoon at 1 o'clock I'm going to sit down and review comments. I have no idea how to say your name. Boryanikov? That sounds like horrible, right? I have no idea. I probably said that horribly. This is why I hate usernames, because they make me sound like an idiot, because I can never, they're all one long word. I'm like, is this 3 words? Is it 1 word? I have no idea. I'm so sorry. But she's saying Planoly is great. And yes, I have not personally used Planoly. I've looked at it. I do not personally use it, so I can't speak to it from a personal standpoint. Boryana? We'll go with it. I did it, honey. Okay, thank you, sweetie. But yeah, so Planoly is great. A lot of people love Planoly. It has a lot of features in there as well. That's definitely another one worth looking into, and that also helps you guys. We just kind of talked about that, organizing your content and having it, like, 3 or 6 type items and rotating content and having it repetitive. Planoly is great for that as well. It really does help you organize. So does Tailwind, just saying. But yeah, Planoly helps you better visualize, because you can actually see it in the grid format. So you can actually see how it's going to look, and you can be like, oh, that one kind of doesn't look good there. I'm going to find a different one and let's move them around. So you can actually, before they post, as you're scheduling them out, you can help with that. Okay, so that was the answer to that question. Okay, so I'm going to jump over to Tanya, my girl, asked her question. I'm going to go back and make sure I get the right question. Wow, you guys are like, you're all up in it. Tanya, I'm losing you. Where did your comment go? Where did your question go? Oh, there it is. I read that you should delete a post from your Facebook page if it doesn't engage. Thoughts? Here's my thing. I never delete anything. You put it out there, you put it out there. Some people believe, especially on Instagram, that if you have a poor performing post, you should delete it. I don't believe that. People go back and they delete old content. Maybe if it's really out of the realm, like if you've moved from what was a personal account into a business account and you want to go delete some old stuff that was just like super like kind of personal and random and has nothing to do with your business, I can kind of understand that. But when you're posting as part of a strategy and you're being consistent, here's my big reason for why you don't. A, you put it out there. People did see it. Even if it's poorly performing, people did see it. And when you start taking your content down, that looks bad to your audience. They're like, well, why did they take that down? Is it not true? Was there a reason, like, that are they taking back the information that they shared with me? Did they, did something bad happen? And it starts raising questions about your truth, your transparency, and your honesty. So even if I put something out there, like I've actually put out articles that were wrong. That, like, I literally shared something only to find out the information was wrong. And you know what I did? I updated the post. I literally go edit, I start typing in update. This information was found to be incorrect. Here's a better information source, or I will provide more information when I get it. I jump to conclusions. My bad. I'm sorry. Be open, be honest, and be clear about the information. It's much more trustworthy to your audience that you are open and honest and not hiding things. On top of it, here's the thing. Facebook really doesn't give a shit. If your content that you, like, if it didn't perform well and you delete it, they still know it didn't perform well. This is not the whole gaming the system. Like, oh, well, if I only leave my high-performing posts and it looks like I have all these great performing posts, or Instagram too, but Facebook doesn't care. They know what's performing and they know you're deleting it. If anything, you're probably going to get penalized for it. Could it look negative from the perspective of your audience coming in? They're like, oh, this post got 100 likes, and this post got 200 likes, and this post only got 10. Oh, what happened to that post? Yeah, it could raise questions. But again, it could be that post happened to go out right behind that 200 post, and so it just didn't get enough traction. There's a lot of reasons to explain it, and guess what? The average person doesn't care. You know who cares about it? People like us. People like us are crazy, and we overanalyze, and we go look at these things and we go, that's questionable. Honey, I don't know about that. No one else gives a crap. Do you think if you want to buy a product from a company and you go to their Facebook page and let's say it's jewelry and you're looking at all these things, do you think you really care if that one post has 100 likes and the other one has 5 likes? Do you really care as a consumer? No! You care about the product. You care about the brand, their personality. You care about their reviews. You care about maybe the comments and feedback and responsiveness. Do you really care that much about likes on a post? No, you really don't. So don't worry about it. Don't delete things, is my personal opinion. I just say let it ride. And you never know. Like sometimes those things didn't perform well. Like some of my blog posts, I'm like, damn you, Facebook, that post should have gone out to like tens of thousands of people. That was an amazing post. It was super informational. But I've had people that have gone to my Facebook page after the fact and they've gone and found that post, and that's how I get a lead, or that's how I get business, because that was a super valuable post. It was relevant. It just didn't do a lot of work at the time, but it's still working for you after the fact. So if I deleted it, I would have lost all that value of a potential lead because that was the one that converted them. So, okay, tirade, rant over. Okay, I'm going to come back. Sonia had a question. I'll come back to that. AJ Lambert Co. said, instead of deleting, can you archive it and followers still see it? You can archive, but only you can see your archived posts. No one can see your archive on Instagram, except for you. And on Facebook, I'm pretty sure there is no archive. There's like a hidden feature. I'd have to look into that. I honestly can't be 100% sure. I'm getting so hot, you guys. My hair is like making me sweat. Like I'm waiting for my air conditioning to kick back on because it's getting really hot in here. So I'd have to double check on the Facebook side of it. But from Instagram, if you archive it, only you can see it. This is great for things like contests. If you ran a contest and you want to keep the post for your own personal reference, but you don't want people to like still actively participate in a contest or a campaign, that sort of thing, so you want to hide it, absolutely, there are times and places for that. But in general, no deleting it. So Jen saying you can't archive, but you don't have the archive feature yet. That sucks. Oh my God, that sucks. I thought it had rolled out to everybody. Ugh. Instagram does this, I swear. Seeking Student says, we are our own worst enemy. Yes, we really are. Archive is Instagram, but I think you can hide from timeline. Yes, like I said, there's a hidden feature on Facebook, so you can hide things. And I know when you hide comments on Facebook, the person who originally wrote the comment can still see the comment and their friends can see it, but nobody else can see it. So it's not really like gone, like it's kind of a hidden. I haven't tried to hide an actual post from my own timeline. So I'd have to test that out, to be completely honest, unless somebody else knows more information about that. Legacy Wood Design, what if it's for an event that has passed? Delete. No, you do not delete. Like I was just kind of talking about with the, like going in and updating and like saying, hey, this is, new information, like I was wrong. I would recommend you update your post as well. So go in, if it's for an event, if it's for a contest, and like just go edit your caption on that post and say event over, contest closed, put thank you for your participation. The event is now closed. Put that in big capital letters with like emojis or stars or something around it as the first line, so anybody reading it now knows it's expired, but that you want to keep that content there so that people can see what it was. They want to know you do these things. The worst thing for me is I'm like, okay, I want to know, like, you say you do all these events, but I go to your page and there's nothing there, or you run all these contests, but I go there and there's never anything there. So I don't recommend deleting it. I recommend updating it. And especially if there's a link to something, like to a sign up page or like to buy tickets, just delete the link out at that point. Put a photo in if you had a link preview or something. So change it a little bit so there's no way for them to directly link through and try to purchase tickets or participate in some way. Boryana said the problem is that if you want to repost an archive post, it will appear on the exact date you posted it. Yes, so if you archive something and then you unarchive it, it just goes back to where it was. It doesn't repopulate into your post. So if you archive something from a year ago, people aren't going to see it, that it's new and fresh. They're going to, they have to go back in the year's worth of content to see it. Okay, so Carol has a question about Facebook Live. So Carol, I'm going to come back to that question. Is there a thing better to use direct in Bitly? Okay, I'm going to come back to that question. Templeton Silver just showed up in the house. Hey, hey. Okay, so I've got a couple other questions I want to make sure I get to because I promised I would get to these ones. These are from Mike, and he's a photographer. And one of the questions he asked is, should your logo be on your photos? Now, again, this is him as a photographer, meaning should there be a watermark or some sort of distinguishing characteristic on the photo that allows people to recognize that it's kind of trademarked, copyrighted content, it's branded, so you know it's that, photographer's content. This is honestly, this is one of those questions where I don't have a good answer, because I've seen both work successfully. Now, from the perspective of Instagram and in general, putting that watermark on there gets annoying. People don't want to see your watermark. It obviously brands your content, it makes it recognizable, it protects it, but let's face it, if someone, unless it's like, right across the image like this, if you put it down in the lower corner, you put it down in the bottom, if someone really wanted to screenshot and steal your photo, they're just going to crop your watermark out anyways. If they really want to do it, they're going to do it. And if you go and put a big old watermark like diagonally across the entire photo, it completely ruins the opportunity to interact on Instagram. Like, I'm not going to interact with content that has a watermark, no matter how faint or vague it is, across the middle of a photo. It's just not going to be appealing. I have seen photographers who do add the watermarks, and they do it very successfully, very tastefully. They put it down like in the bottom corner, or as kind of like a nice scroll text that kind of just like flows with the image. So it can be done, absolutely. But in general, people don't tend to react as positively because it looks overly branded. It looks salesy almost, like, oh, you had to put your watermark on your photo again. Like, it becomes less about you sharing good photos and you trying to like overly protect your product. Not a bad thing. I don't blame photographers for wanting to do that. But there's other ways around that, being clear that this is your content, that it's your original content, that you own the copyright. If people want it, that they can get it from you, they can get digital prints, they can buy, blah, 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 blah. It's definitely, like, and I always use, you guys know, if you guys have been following me for a while, I love the GoPro account. And GoPro is 100% UGC. Every photo that's posted on GoPro is created by somebody else, but they never put a watermark with the original, user on it. It's just this beautiful photo, but then they tag the original user and then they mention them in the comment or in the caption. So they're giving attribution, but they don't put the attribution on the photo because it detracts from it. When you go and look at someone's account and there's constantly like these little banners and this wording when you scroll through all of their photos, it's very distracting. It doesn't make it look appealing. And as a photographer, you want to be appealing. You want people to look at your gallery and say, this is beautiful content. This is someone I want to, I want to buy their prints, or this is someone I want to hire to do my photography. So that's a really long-winded answer. I know, but I would say personally, don't do it. But if you're going to do it stylistically, do it creatively, and you might want to kind of test it out and see what works for you and your audience, and try putting that logo on there in different places, and see how that impacts your reach over time and that sort of thing. Okay, so comments on that. Another question came in. Watermarks across the photo ruins the pleasure of enjoying your photos. Absolutely, 100%. Luke is saying, yeah, it's almost like an antisocial thing to put watermarks in it. It really can be. Again, I've seen people do it creatively and subtly and they get away with it because it's done properly. But in general, when it's like bold and obvious and detracts from the quality of the photo, it really can be kind of antisocial. Jen Shar Smith is saying, interesting, my @shop cute heart is mainly UGC, but I always give credit. Yes, you always want to give credit. 100% you want to give credit. It's just, when you use like the repost app and it puts like the little watermark banner across the bottom, that's not bad, but it can detract from the quality of the images. It's not a bad thing. You always want to give attribution. And I literally just wrote an entire blog post on this topic that's going up for Social Media Examiner in the coming days. It may be like next weekish. And it's all about protecting yourself when you use UGC. So Jen, stay tuned for that. I will be sharing that I posted about it, but it'll come out on Social Media Examiner. And it's got tons of information on how to do that creatively and effectively. And she said, yes, she does exactly what I said, mentioning in the comments, tagging user, etc. Okay, so I'm going to go back here to Carol. And she said, is the Facebook Live video affected by the algorithm? So, yes. Everything on Facebook is affected by the algorithm. Nothing on Facebook gets shown without being sorted by the algorithm. Now, the Facebook algorithm gives priority to to Facebook Live videos right now. So if you're doing a Facebook Live, which is why I used to simulcast and do a Facebook Live as I did the Instagram Live, then it would show up higher in the feed. You could share it, you could get more exposure. It would show up and say, hey, so-and-so's like live on Facebook, and it would give notifications because they're really pushing Facebook Live. But here's eventually what's going to happen, like what happens with everything else. Then everyone's doing Facebook Live and we're all over it, and we ignore the notifications, and we stop tuning in because it's noise and it's annoying. So it's good. The algorithm will give it preference right now, but of course that will change in time. So you don't want to create live video just for the sake of live video to beat the algorithm. You want to create live video that is valuable. How can you provide something of content that your audience actually wants to listen to? I do these Instagram Lives every other Wednesday, and I literally run out of time. I get cut off at the 1 hour mark. I can't go past an hour on a single video, which reminds me, we've only got about 10 minutes left, you guys. Just over 10 minutes. But that's the thing, like, I'm cramming content into 1 hour, and you guys show up and you stay for the whole hour, and if you can't, you come back and watch the replay. And I'm getting that value out of it that my audience loves and they show up for. Now, that being said, if you're just sitting there randomly, sharing random content, or it's not something your audience wants, they're going to stop tuning into your live videos. And then no matter what you do on the algorithm, or no matter what the algorithm wants to do, if your content isn't performing, they're not going to show it to people. Especially if there's 3 other people who are doing a live video at the same time. If yours isn't a high-performing post and getting lots of engagement or lots of views, you will rank behind those other people who are getting better engagement on their live videos. So it's never just about doing the live video. It's about giving quality that your audience wants. If that's doing it once a month, then do it once a month. If it's doing it a 15 or 20 minute video, then do 15 or 20 minutes. If you can do a half hour, 40 minutes, great, do that. But don't stretch it out just for the sake of doing it. You really want to be maximizing that quality content that people want to show up for every single time and be active and engaged and participating in it. Okay, more questions I will get to over here. I want to go back to the last question that I had submitted before we went live. This one is also from Mike. And he said, is it important to have a theme for Instagram, i.e. the same filters, that sort of thing? He heard it makes photos easier to spot. So, things are popping up on my screen. So first of all, Carol said, thanks, good, I'm glad, I hope that answered your question. Seeking surnames is saying, I appreciate your live schedule. It's a lot of content without being in my face all the time. Exactly, I do these once every other week. Also because I can't show up every week. Mama ain't got time for that. Like, I'm giving you guys an hour of my life and you're giving me an hour of your life. Trust me, I know how valuable that hour is. Like, I don't have hours to throw away, and I know you don't either. So I'm not going to overdo it, and I'm not going to push content just for the sake of doing it. I'm going to make sure that when I show up, it's content that's actually valuable that you guys want to show up for. And the best people who do live are doing the same thing. When they go live, people show up because they know they're going to get quality content. If they're not doing anything valuable, people just stop showing up. You really have to be strategic with it. And I'm so glad my air conditioning kicked on, because I was like, oh, I'm almost getting sweaty. I'm like sticking in my leather chair over here, man. Like, so bad, you guys, it's so hot. Okay, so the question was from Mike, is it important to have a theme for Instagram? So, in the same filters, yes. So, I don't know what seeking surnames are doing. I got E, G, G's, G. I don't know what's going on. I'm assuming you're trying to type something and you're hitting enter. I love you, girl. Yes, in my opinion, it is absolutely important to have a theme, be it from filters, types of content. We already kind of talked about having like aligned content and having like repetitive patterns, doing color schemes. As a photographer, that can be great as well. We kind of already talked about that, whether you do like all 3 are green and then 3 are blue and then 3 are red, 3 are purple, like whatever that is, or doing... She dropped her phone. I love it. That's awesome. Real life, it happens on live video. It all happens, you guys. But in turn, I personally, like, I only choose 3 or 4 filters for my content because I know that those are the ones that resonate with me and my content style and my styling and my branding and all that sort of thing. So I use the same consistent filters, and the more you do that, the more your audience starts to recognize that. Now, as a photographer, that's a little bit harder because you already have a style and you might not necessarily want to put a filter on there. Dude, I totally need a Beyonce fan. You have no idea. Although that thing's probably really loud. Like, that would actually be really bad on a live video. Like, I'm just gonna, like, wait until this video is done and I'm, like, gonna go, like, have a nice cold shower or something. And, ooh, I need a smoothie. I'm gonna have a smoothie after this. Cool my ass down. Okay. But yeah, so I absolutely believe that you should have those, you know, filters. Pick 3 or 4 that are best for you. So I use, like I said, the same 3 or 4. They all have the same kind of effect. And I don't know if you guys know, I know we've talked about this, but if you choose a filter, if you tap on it again, you actually get the slider and you can choose the intensity from 0 to 100. So when you choose a filter, it's automatically at a 100 setting. I almost never use a filter at 100. I'm usually about 50 to 75. So dial it down, take it down a little bit, and it reduces the intensity of that filter so you still get the effect, but without necessarily the harshness and still being able to stay true to your content. But yes, I am a huge supporter. It's great for branding. It's great for recognition. People start to recognize your styling. They know when things have this kind of hue or tone or this kind of, you know, perspective, that they're like, oh, that's probably so-and-so. And it becomes almost subliminal to the point where then it's like, it's obvious. And people recognize it and they start searching it out in their content. So I would absolutely continue to recommend doing that. Okay, so we had a few more questions come in. Okay, so Luke had asked, is there a better thing to use to track clicks other than Bitly? There are other ones, believe it or not. Google has a Google shortener. Don't love that. Bitly's one of the best. Another one out there is Rebrandly. Rebrand.ly. It is a paid platform though. You do have to pay for those URLs. It's not expensive. But like if you go to my account, here on Instagram, I actually have jenstrends.social, is my Rebrandly link. So it doesn't look like a bit.ly. It actually looks like a URL. But I get full data, get full metrics and analytics and click-through rates and all those sorts of things that I can track, because it's an actual URL. It's not a bit.ly link shortener. Yeah. Things are popping up on my screen and I lost everybody. So you can look at the Rebrandly. I do recommend that one. It's actually a friend of mine here in San Diego who is a member of that company, and they do that. So definitely look into that one. Otherwise, Bitly is great. Like there's nothing wrong with a good Bitly, aside from the fact that it does become bit.ly, and then you can do your customized, but it's obviously a recognizable Bitly. Whereas if you use Rebrandly, you are getting a unique URL, which makes it a little bit more personalized and branded. AJ Lambert Co. said, can you stream live on Instagram with a third party? Example, going live with Wirecast on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. No, you cannot at this point. There is no integration that I am aware of that allows that. I'm sure it will come. I'm still waiting for my little 2 faces down here on Instagram. That whole 2-person live video. Oh, they teased us with it last month and I'm dying to get my hands on it. Every time I do a video, I'm like, is this the one? Nope, not the one. But that will allow you to invite people in, which is going to allow a lot more for these kind of podcast type situations where you can have interviews. If you guys want to come on and ask a question, I could invite one of you in and we could have the question live and go back and forth. And then, you know, you would leave and the next person would come in. It'd be great for things like the Ask Me Anything. But for right now, I am not aware of any capacity to use that third party on Instagram at this point. Catching up. Sorry, you guys, just trying to catch up on all the questions. Okay, so we got thank yous. Real TPS Fit threw up for the Rebrandly as well. Thank you for typing that in there for me. Okay, so on that note, that's all the questions. We actually covered them all. I finished my list of questions over here, and you guys asked all your questions, and we have like 6 minutes. Like, we actually got through everything. So on that note, as I'm dying over here, if you have any more questions, I can probably take 1 or 2 more, probably 1, before we get kicked out. As a reminder, I did have a blog post come out today. If you go to jenstrends.com, and it said why social media really matters. If you haven't read that one, I invite you to head over to jenstrends.com and take a read of that one. It was kind of a personal post, a little bit kind of like a foundational, like all these things, you know, that we talk about and we do all these things. Oh, about the app. Sonia, my bad. Go, okay, Sonia, can you type it back in again? I don't want to dig through the 100 comments that came in. Repost that question. I will answer it. My bad. I am so sorry that I did not get to that one. And then yes, questions on thoughts on Watch. I will absolutely, I'll answer that right now. So, so Facebook Watch. Personally, don't care. I can say that now because I don't watch TV, I don't watch movies, I don't use Netflix, not at all. I do that, just not on my phone. I'm not that kind of person that, oh jeez. Sorry, come here. This is life. This is my dog, because the neighbors came in across the hall and slammed their door, and then my dog gets all excited because she assumes they're coming to see her. Come here, hey, come here. Okay, so I'm not a huge fan of Watch. I really don't care. I'm not going to personally really use it, but here's what's going to happen. It's going to be the new Netflix. It's going to be. Things that are being made specifically for Netflix and Hulu and all these kinds of things, they're going to start showing up on Watch, and they're going to start getting recognition at awards ceremonies and all these sorts of things. It's going places. It is absolutely 100% going to grow. Facebook is going for world domination. Watch is only the next step. If you have the capacity to create content for Watch, do it. If you can take your videos and upload them and have them available to people, do it. Get in now on the ground floor. If you can do it, get in there. As it grows and expands, it's only going to get more congested and harder to stand out. So if you can build an audience now, just like any other platform that's new, do it. But that being said, you can't expect great results off the bat. Just do it because you know you're setting the foundation for the future, but understand that you're probably not going to get exceptional results off the bat because it's just not commonplace. Like, all of us are talking about it because this is what we do, but the average person doesn't even know this is happening. Like, nobody else in the world knows what Watch is. They're like, what are you talking about? Like, when I ask people, nobody knows what I'm talking about. Only we know about it. So don't expect great things off the bat. Okay, Sonia. Any apps recommendations for Insta stories that I can use video and photo at the same time, like a collage? No. Oh, shush. Come here. I do not. If anybody has anything that they can throw in the comments. I'm sorry, you guys. My dog is like, she knows I'm coming up on the end of this, and people are across the hall making a bunch of noise. Hey, come here. Come here. Oh, does it do it for stories though? Tanya chimed in and said Pick, Play, Post does that. I did not realize they did it for stories. So, news to me. This is why I'm glad you guys are here, because you guys answer the questions. You guys make sure you keep me honest. So I hope that if that's the case, then if Pick, Play, Post, Pick, Play, Post, definitely look into that. Oh, she's saying no, not for stories. But my guess is they would. That would be something they would be leaning towards. I would even reach out to them and say, hey, is this something you're going to be doing? Watson Chaos is saying maybe something in the Adobe family. This is something that, again, stories is so new, you guys. I don't think, this is not overly popular. It is, but it's only been around for a short period of time. And for apps to develop the type of technology to catch up and give us the things that we need takes time. And then they have to test it, and it has to get out there, and people have to try it, and it has to, gain momentum and all this. So it's definitely something that you could look at in the future. But I like I said, I don't know of anything that's offering that sort of thing right now. And Boryana is asking, why would you want to combine stories, though? I think, I've seen these things on Facebook where you can do things like that, where you do, you have, a photo, and then, you have, a video that runs underneath. You can make things like a component of them, and it just adds for a whole other layer of interactivity. So there was that. I had one other question that popped in. AJ Lambercote said, any news on stories coming to desktop and being able to post from there? Stories are already rolling out to desktop. I've heard it's only on Chrome, but I have Chrome and it's not working. I don't have it yet. Tanya, my girl, the real TPS Fit, she has it. She can watch stories on desktop. It is rolling out as of last week. When they will be able to post from desktop, I do not know. And I'm going to get cut off here in literally a minute, you guys. So if I'm going to have to wrap it up. But for posting from desktop to stories is coming in the quote coming months. We don't know when that will be. And it's only going to be posting to stories, not posting to Instagram regular content. It's only going to be for that perspective. One of the girls in my Jen's Friends community said this is going to be great for journalists. I agree 100%. I see them making great use of this. a lot of content creators are going to have a great grow with this, especially to be able to create the content on your computer and then upload it to Stories. I'm not sure how much people are going to digest Stories on desktop. I'll be really curious to see, like, people that use Stories are mobile users. Most people who use Stories are not desktop users. So I'll be very interested to see how that kind of translates. Okay, so each story is 15 seconds. Too much content will overwhelm the eyes. We use Apple Motion and Final Cut to merge stories together. You guys are, and I literally had 28 seconds, so you guys are talking amongst yourselves. Thank you. I'm amazing. I am amazing. Thank you. So thank you guys. Thank you so much for being here. You guys, you know I love you. You guys were amazing. We got through all of the questions. I will do another Ask Me Anything in the future. We will be back again in 2 weeks, and I will have another content or another topic ready for you guys. Don't know what it is yet. I usually kind of wait and see how things are going and progressing and if there's any big trending topics I want to cover.